Head over to miniaturemarket.com where they have thousands of board games at discounted prices, and you can sign up for product alerts. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. It's the end of the year, so I'm doing all of my best games of the year in different categories right now, all week long. Today, we are looking at family games, so let me show you my favorite top 10 family games of 2021.
Number 10.
All right, this first one is called Bad Company. Now, this uses a mechanism that you may have found in Marchicoro or Space Base or Foodies or games like that, where one player is going to roll dice and all the other players, they're going to select something, and all the other players are also going to be able to select something, and they're going to do something with those dice. Now, what you're trying to do here in Bad Company is you're putting together a band of gangs, and you're trying to finish some heists. And it's basically similar to sort of a game like Ecos or Augustus, where you're trying to basically, bingo-wise, you're getting different icons and you're putting them on heists. And you're trying to finish those heists because those heists are going to score your points. They're also going to help you with set collection. If you have the most of a certain type of set, you get to put a necklace on one of your gangsters, and every time you activate that gangster, you get a point, but it's also worth 2 points at the end if they keep the necklace. Well, one of the cool things is in addition to doing your heists, you're also trying to upgrade those by gaining cards, and you're upgrading them so that when you use that number on the dice, you're getting multiple things. But you can build up like one super character and they keep getting taller and taller and taller, which is such a cool little mechanism. And you're getting better and better things, but you're also covering up some of the extra points that some of them give. So there's some trade-offs there. You're also trying to like move around the board and beat the cops, because every time you pass an ability, you'll get it as long as the cops aren't in front of you. Lots of little things here. It's a fun little game. It's a beautiful production, really fun dice. If you like that Marchicoro style, this is maybe the best one of all of those, Bad Company.
Number 9.
All right, the next one is an abstract strategy game called Mandala Stones. Let me give you a 1-minute overview of how this works. Mandala Stones is a game of tranquility and beauty where you'll be collecting stones from a main board available to all players and placing them on your own personal board. As the game goes on, your own board will build up with more and more stacks of stones. You're trying to find the right time to score a specific color that you can see on top of all of your personal stacks. But all of these stacks score differently. Some of them score for the height of the stack. For example, if we were scoring purple this turn, this stack would score 4 points because it's 3 tall, and this one over here would score 1 point plus 1 for each of the colors there for a total of 4 points. So those 2 purple total would be 8 points. When done scoring those stones on the scoreboard, they might earn you bonus points. Or you might be setting someone else up for bonuses, so the timing of your scoring is an important part of your strategy. You're trying to be as efficient as possible and score as much as you can in one single turn. But as you see here, we're now set up to score blue on all 5 of our stacks next turn. That took a lot of forward planning, but the payoff will be huge. Collecting the stones to place on your board also requires forethought and planning. First, you'll move one of these artist tokens to an open spot. Then, you'll take up to 4 stones that are adjacent to that artist, but only ones that match the pattern of the artist you selected, and which are also not adjacent to any other artist. And from the ones you'll take, you get to decide which one you take first, then in a clockwise manner, which, as we've already seen, the order of those stones in the stack are very important to scoring. On top of all this, you'll also have 2 hidden objectives that you can work for. But you'll only be able to score for one of them at the end of the game, like 6 points, if you end the game with exactly 3 stones on your board. Or 7 points if you end the game with only this pattern visible on your board. Yeah, Mandala Stones, as you might look at it and go, hey, it kind of feels a little like Azulish. And you're like, yeah, it's an abstract game, and yes, it has beautiful components, some nice tiles, not tiles, but round discs that you're using. And yes, it's similar to that, but it also is very, very different. I like the puzzle of this game, that you're trying to figure out the right way to get the right stones that you need in the right order so that you can place them on your board to try to score certain things. And you're really trying to not just score one thing great, but you're really trying to set yourself up so that you score this, these get taken off, now you're set up to score something else, and then maybe even get set up to score something else. So as you're taking things, you're thinking like, way ahead, being like, okay, I want to do this, but if I can do this and this at the same time, I'm going to do that. How do I get these stones? And you're looking at the puzzle out there, and you figure out where to move the artist, and you figure out which ones to get. It is a clever little game. You also have some end game secret goals that you're going for as well that you're trying to keep intact. It's a really good, if you like those sort of abstract strategy games where you're trying to think ahead and have some beautiful things in front of you while you're doing it, Mandala Stones is a good one for that.
Number 8.
This next one is called 10, T-E-N. It's from AEG, and this is a press your luck game that has a little bit of auction with it. Now in this game, you're trying to collect as many consecutive cards of a color as possible, because there's numbers 1 through 9, and you'll look at the end of the game for each color, you'll look at how big of a run you got, and you get a point for each of those cards. But if you get all 9 of them in a row, you get 10 points, hence the name of the game, 10. Now to do this, you're doing a press your luck thing where you're drawing cards and you're trying not to bust. Because if you draw numbered cards that add up to over 10, you bust and get nothing. But there's some other cards that are currencies. Not only do those help you not bust, but they also give you money if you choose to get them. You'll need money because at the end of your game, if you don't bust, and you take a numbered card, you can basically, you'll be using that for auctions throughout the game to try to win cards once somebody busts, or when special wild cards come up, you'll be able to win auctions. But the other thing is if you do too many of those currency cards, that can make you bust in the other direction. So it's sort of like a double-sided sword from a press your luck perspective. It's super simple, it's very fun, there's an economy of your currency and what to use it for the auctions. You're also able to buy a card that other players busted and did not get. So you're trying to get money that way. It is a very clever and fun game. Best with 3 or more. If this was better with 2 players, it probably would have made it up even higher. But with the auction, it's not quite as interesting with 2. But this is a fantastic family game, 10.
Number 7.
This next one is called Lucky Numbers. This is a very, very simple game. It's similar to an old game from the 80s I used to love to play called Racco. You're just trying to get numbers in order, but you need to get them in order from left to right and top to bottom. So you're trying to fill up this grid with flowers. On your turn, you're simply just either picking a random flower and either placing it on a new spot, replacing a number that's already there, or just not taking it and leaving it face up. So as the game goes on, there's gonna be face up numbers there that other players are putting. So you could take one of those. So if you replace one and you don't want it, you're going to be setting your opponent up. So you're looking over there and seeing if that's going to help them or not. So as simple as this game is, take a number, possibly a random one, and place it somewhere. You're still trying to leave yourself room and gaps to be able to get all your numbers in a row. It is a clever game. It's Michael Schatt, the one that brought us, Coloretto, Zularetto. The stuff that he does is always amazing. And this is so simple, but so good at the same time. You can play this while you're hanging out at dinner, waiting for a restaurant, or even watching TV. You can kind of play this thing like half there and still have fun, but you can also think of it very thinky by looking around. Really excellent, super light, one of my favorite, like, uber light games, Lucky Numbers.
Number 6.
This next one is called Super Mega Lucky Box. This is designed by Phil Walker Harding, one of my favorite designers. Let me give you a 1-minute overview of how this works. Super Mega Lucky Box is a simultaneously played flip and write game for 1 to 6 players, where players are going to be marking off numbers and trying to complete cards. The faster they do it, the more points they'll get. But completing rows and columns also give you bonuses like crossing off numbers on other cards of yours, or even getting lightning bolts, allowing you to manipulate numbers in the future. And sometimes you're setting up huge combos like a 9 finishes this column, gets me a 1, which I cross this off, gets me any number, which gets me this, which gets me a moon, and if I have the most of these at the end of the game, I'll get an additional 6 points. Or maybe you spend a lightning bolt to change that 2 into a 1, getting you another bonus of 7, allowing you to now complete another row of 5 and continuing the fun. You get new cards each round, but you're trying to complete them as fast as possible, as well as getting as many stars as possible in a round, and trying to have the most moons for 6 most points. Whoever has the most is the winner. Yeah, this game, it's got a silly name, Super Mega Lucky Box, and it looked kind of funny. It's got that old retro Price is Right look that I actually like. And this game is sort of like bingo. Bingo with combos, and it's very fun. I've had this go over huge with gamers and people that don't play a whole lot of games. It's just so easy and approachable. You know, flip over a number, decide where you're putting that. Oh, you can set up a good combo? Great. I get this, that gets me this, that gets me that, that gets me this. And you have turns like that, and it's just so fun. You know, you're setting yourself up to try to get better numbers. You're really trying to complete things fast. You're also trying to set up longer term things like maybe not completing a card this round, because next round you'll be able to get all 3 stars and get huge points there. You're also fighting over majority for moons. You're trying to maybe have the most, but you don't want to have the least. The game moves fast. It takes about a half hour. It is so fun. Drawing right on the cards, erasing right off the cards. It's such a clever little bingo game that works for everybody. Super Mega Lucky Box.
Number 5.
This next one is called Cascadia. Let me give you a 1-minute overview of how this works. Cascadia is a tile drafting and placement game for 1 to 4 players where you're going to be drafting pairs of tiles and animal tokens, and at the end scoring differently for each of them. For example, grabbing this pair, placing the elk where the elk belongs on one of these, and placing this tile on my board. Noticing, hey, I've got a pair of bears here. Because each pair of bear that's not surrounded by any other bears is going to get me points depending on the amount of pairs I have, and each animal scores in a different fashion, and each animal has multiple cards that you can use in different games for huge replayability. When placing an animal, you might place on a pine cone, getting you one of these, allowing you to spend it to take a token and a different paired tile, which can really help when building up your animals for scoring and, hey, getting possibly even another pine cone. And at the end, which will be a lot bigger than this, you get points for not only all the animals, but also whoever has the largest, or sometimes second largest, habitat by the number of tiles. So you're also trying to pay attention to how and where you lay the tiles. And there's also a family variant or intermediate variant to have all the animals score the same way and a much easier way for smaller children. Yeah, this game is absolutely beautiful. Beth Sobel art. I mean, she's becoming, if not already, one of the best artist and most wanted artist in the board game arena. So beautiful, and this game is just such an excellent puzzle. It's so approachable. It's like, take 2 of these, take a tile and a matching animal, and place it somewhere where it belongs on your board. That's it. But with those simple rules comes a lot of depth, which I love games that have simple rules but tons of depth like this, where you're trying to figure out this puzzle, but you're working on 2 puzzles at once. You're trying to get the right scoring for the right animals in the right spots, but you're also trying to build up the habitats, because at the end you're getting those points if you have the largest set of the habitats. So it's this interesting thing where you're trying to figure out the best way to do both of these puzzles at once, but it's not always possible. So you're gonna have to make some tough decisions. Ooh, is this better to put here and stay in the lead for this habitat? Or is it better to maybe possibly give that up because I'm gonna put the thing? It's great. It's so simple, it's so deep, it's so beautiful. Each game is different because you're always changing the scoring cards. It's very similar to a game called Calico that was in my top 10 of the year last year, but this is much more easy, breezy, but almost quite as deep as well. If you like tile laying games, this is so fantastic, Cascadia.
Number 4.
This next one is called Juicy Fruits, brought to us here in North America by Capstone Games. Let me give you a 1-minute overview of how this works. Juicy Fruits is a light family strategy game for 2 to 4 players, where you're going to be getting these huge chunky bits of different fruits and doing different things with them. You have your own island and you'll be sliding goods to get certain things like a single banana, or maybe even 2 bananas. The further you slide, the more you get. You can spend those goods like a banana and 2 limes to get points like 2, but it also opens up your island. So maybe next time I'll get 3 pomegranates going all the way. Or you can spend goods to get points, getting business licenses, and getting different types of businesses. Some which allow you to get any types of certain goods, plus an additional one. Or maybe you'll get ice cream stands that every time you move them on your board, you can turn in goods for big points. Or maybe you get these huge businesses. They take up a lot of room and constrict your movement, but they get you a lot of points. There's also other types of businesses that help you combo different strategies of the game, and these are different each game. As soon as a certain amount of businesses have been made, the game ends. Whoever has the most points is the winner. Yeah, this game looks awesome on the table. It's absolutely beautiful and vibrant. I love the mechanism of sliding the little thing around to get your goods. And over the course of the game, you're delivering those goods to open up so that your slider can go a little bit further. It almost feels like a little bit of engine building, and it really reminds me of those cool little puzzles when you were a kid, where you had these little things and you were sliding them around and you're trying to get the little things open, and you're trying to like, hey, how do I get this puzzle to look like a puzzle? And you're just sliding everything around. It reminded me of those. It is such a clever little way to get resources, but then what you do with them is even more impressive, where you're either trying to get those boats off or you're trying to get businesses. And those businesses do different things, give you all different strategies. They're different every game. You can play the advanced version when you're making smoothies. The businesses are so cool. Do you want to make an ice cream stand and get a bunch of points that way? Or do you want to get things that collect better resources? Or do you want to get these big, huge things that clog up your board, but they give you tons of points? This game is just so fantastic. It plays so fast. 4-player game, it's not longer than 40 minutes. 2-player game, it's like a 20-minute game. It's so fast. You'll play it more than once. Chunky bits are awesome. Juicy fruit, great game.
Number 3.
This next one is a family deduction game called The Key, Murder at the Oakdale Club, brought to us by Haba. Let me give you a 1-minute overview of how this works. The Key, Murder at Oakdale Club is a simultaneously played deduction game, family weight, where you're trying to find the 3 murders and who did each one, how did they do it, where did they do it, and how did they get away. Players will be simultaneously rummaging through cards and finding a card that's in the same case color. Maybe you get clues like, this person did not murder with the trophy, and that's something that will help you unlock things a little bit later once you know when this was used or when he murdered. Or maybe you get a card with DNA evidence and you're trying to match those up to see who has that strand and knowing that that person killed with that. Or maybe you find out that this suspect was right here at 1945, meaning they couldn't have killed someone here because it took them 15 minutes if this was done 5 minutes after they were there. So you're using deduction in all different ways in this game. And once you think you've figured it all out, you'll be able to put a key into that number and see if you were right if it came through here, the yellow, or wrong if it didn't. And if more than one player got it right, whoever did it in the smallest amount of time is the winner. Yeah, I love deduction games, as you probably know if you watch my channel at all. This is probably one of the best family weight deduction games out there. There's actually 3 versions of The Key. There's 3 completely separate games. 2 of them with an easy level, one of them, which is this one, with a medium level. Next year they're supposed to come out with one that's hard level. This is so interesting because A, it's simultaneous, B, the deduction is at times simple, but at times thinky too, where you get to decide which cards you want to pull and which things you're trying to figure out. And the way that you figure out some of the things uses deduction in just a different way. It's not always like the spreadsheet logic form that I love so much in deduction games, but you're looking at a map and you're looking at the golf cart and you're going, hey, this person was here at 7:45. It takes 20 minutes to get there. They could not have done murder 2 because they were seen here 15 minutes, 20 minutes earlier, and this one was done only 15 minutes after. And it's like, you're doing things like that. You're looking at DNA, little like stripes. It is so fun. Just the clever ways that you get clues and rule things out, and the ways that sometimes you get a bunch of cards, you're like, well, that means nothing to me now, but you unlock one little other card and it starts unlocking like dominoes, all these other cards that you pulled earlier. This means this. Oh, and now that unlocks this. Oh, and now I can realize I can see this. It is such an amazing little deduction game. The whole system's awesome, called The Key. By the way, this is designed by the person, Thomas Singh, who designed The Crew, the most popular cooperative game last year, some people's favorite game of the year last year. He designed this new system for deduction games. Don't sleep on this one. The Key, Murder at Oakdale Club.
Number 2.
Number 2 is another deduction game. This is called Picture Perfect from Arcane Wonders. Let me give you a 1-minute overview of how this works. Picture Perfect is the deduction game for 2 to 4 players where you're trying to make that perfect picture. And throughout the game, you'll be secretly learning where each character wants to be, like standing next to the dog. At the beginning, you'll be going through multiple characters' envelopes, learning what each of them want, and trying to see how many you can fulfill. But as the game goes on, some of those will go away to other players, and you'll be getting new ones to give you new information. Plus, you can have an advanced variant to try to auction off certain envelopes that you want to learn info on. And at the end, you take a final picture trying to fulfill as many of the requests as possible. Getting as many as 6 points if you fulfill all 3, or minus 3 points if you don't get any of them. And you don't even have to place guess if you're not really sure what they want. And you'll even need to hide faces of some like that maid in the back row there. So let's see how many of these guest requests you can fulfill. Yeah, this game is just so fresh and unique, and it's just a breath of fresh air. The way that, even just the theme, hey, let's get everyone together and get like a family photo or a group photo. Well, what happens in those things? Well, I want to stand over here. No, I want to stand over there. No, I want to be in the front. No, I want you to wear this. No, everybody do this. You have everyone has lived through this. And now you're the photographer trying to look through what everybody wants, and you're trying to position them, and you can't make everyone happy. So you have to decide which ones you're gonna make happy for the most points. And also you're getting different information at different times. You're also trying to make one a VIP because you know you're gonna get that one perfect. There's a little bit of a memory element, but you can use the different pieces as like reminders as to like, hey, this person doesn't want to stand next to a female. So I can put these pieces like this, put these ones backwards. Okay, they don't want to stand next to a female. This one wants to be in the back row. This one wants to be in the front. This one wants to block this one's face. This one doesn't want to be seen at all. It's just so clever. It's so awesome. It has an advanced variant with the auction if you want to take it to a different level. But this game is just absolutely just so fun. This goes over so well with just people that don't play games and gamer enthusiasts as well. Picture perfect.
Number 1.
All right, this one, well, family game of the year for me. This is Renature, and this is brought to us by Capstone Games. This is a game that came out earlier this year. I know BGG says it's a 2020, but the pre-orders didn't even start showing up till January here. So Renature from Capstone Games. Let me give you a 1-minute overview of how this works. Renature is a beautiful domino laying game where you're going to be placing dominoes and matching animals when you do that, and possibly placing plants in areas that are beside where you've placed. And you'll be placing different plants that have different heights that give you more and more power. Because these plants will give you points when you place them for plants of equal or lesser size, and when these areas are completely surrounded, not diagonal, you'll score. The higher points for the higher power and the lower for the lower, but the one that closes it gets an endgame point as well. And certain animals are wild, giving you more flexibility and being able to place any animal next to them. But players can be sneaky because they all have neutral pieces, and if they tie, they're not considered there, so you can cause other players, including you, to score and swoop in and get the big points. And in this case, if you're all alone, you get all the points. And you can spend clouds, which can do cool things like change the wild animal, or take another turn, or take back some of the pieces that you've placed earlier. Once the dominoes run out, you'll have some secret endgame scoring, and whoever has the most is the winner. I love it when games in the modern era by master designers use mechanisms that are common to all of us or have been like past classics, like dominoes. In this game, you're basically playing dominoes with a twist, with beautiful animals on the dominoes, but it's so simple. Play a domino, possibly place a tree. But even with how simple that is, oh my gosh, there's some tough decisions in this game. If you're gonna place a tree, where are you gonna place it? If you're gonna place it there, I might wanna use this one. If I wanna place it there, I wanna use this one. A lot of this has the timing to it. Plus, it's also like, oh, I'm gonna place here, and I'm gonna place a neutral tree to totally screw over somebody else and make it so that they're not even there, they can't score. The whole aspect of if someone's tied when they're scoring, there is thought to not be there. That was used in like Las Vegas, for example, a really popular game, and it works so well that the nuances of this game and the timing of when you place something where, this game is an in-your-face, confrontational game. This is a little meaner than most family games I'd put on a list, but it's not quite heavy enough to be like a strategy game. It's kind of in the middle there. But this was a game that came out so early, and for most of the year, this was the best game running. I still really love this game. It's just so clever, and there's a lot of nuances to this game where the mechanisms are simple, but man, there's so much depth here. If you don't like mean, confrontational, I'm gonna screw you over, you thought you were gonna get points, I just took them from you by doing something clever that you didn't see coming, and then this isn't gonna be the game for you. But if you like sort of that aspect of being right in players' faces and really fighting over areas and area control, but you want it to look like and feel like a classic, but also have some very tough decisions to make, oh man, this is it, Renature. Well, there you have my 10 family games of 2021. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you can go ahead and do that now, because coming up, I'm going to be doing next week the top best games of the year of all categories, just the best one, and my top 10 games of the year. Also, tomorrow, I'm going to be doing my strategy games of the year. This has been a Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships through board games, and helping you find the next one you'll love. Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table to a high-quality gaming solution, they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with their amazing, thematic, premium stitch edge mats from noted board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and really cool accessories, It's a complete system that upgrades every game you play. Go to GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below.